Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm actually going to show you guys my eyeshadow collection, and according to me I feel like my eyeshadow collection is a little too much because I have a lot of eyeshadows. There was a time when I used to be obsessed over eyeshadows. I used to love collecting eyeshadows, but now I feel like I have moved on from eyeshadows and I am into more base makeup. But anyway, in today's video I'm going to show you each and every palette I have in my collection, and also I'm going to show you some of the single shadows that I have. So anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love if you could subscribe and hit on the notification bell as well, since you'll get notified of all my future videos as soon as I post them. Anyway, let's get started.
And it goes a little something like
So before moving on, I would actually like to say that I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes that are not easily available here in India. I got them mostly from Instagram resellers. I have palettes from Colourpop, Morphe and BH Cosmetics. I have, there are very less palettes in here that are actually available in India. But anyway, I'll just show you guys. First I'm going to show you these palettes. These are from Nika K, and I have actually talked about the neutral palettes in my brown girl favorite videos, I guess. Brown girl makeup that every brown girl needs. So I've talked about these two palettes there, but I also have all of the colorful shades here. So I got these in PR and I didn't buy these. These aren't bought from my money. I got them from the company, by the brand. They sent me this. So I love the neutral palettes. As I've said, I love the whole brownish neutral palette, but I haven't tested any of the colorful palettes yet. I haven't tried them out. So these are very new to my collection. Okay, so moving on, I have this Colourpop Dream Street palette, and this is how the shade looks like. This is what I have on my eyes today. I have this shade right here in the center, and this dark brown, and this brown on my outer and inner corners. I have done like a halo eye kind of look. So this is again one of my favorite palettes. I used to love this a lot. I used to use the teal shadow here a lot, and this is a collaboration with my favorite YouTuber, which is Kathleen Lights. I love her so much. So as soon as she came out with a palette from Colourpop, I immediately bought it, and I have been using this ever since. I love this a lot, and this is a very different type of a palette. It has teals, it has browns, it has pinks, it has this shade here is very unique to my collection. I don't have anything like this, so an amazing palette. So the next palette here is Morphe and Jaclyn Hill, and this was, I think I got this for about $15. This is another one of the palette which I love the tones of this, but I don't like the palette formulation. I don't like the shades. I mean, the shades is very good. I don't like the formula of this, how this blends. This shade, I love it so much. I love olive shades a lot, but this didn't blend out in my skin that well, and the other shades aren't that pigmented. They don't really blend that well together. So this palette actually, I hardly use it ever. I never pull this out of my collection, but I just have this because I like the shades and it's very pretty to look at. So the next palette I have is a very expensive palette. This is Kevin Aquan palette. It's actually a luxury palette. This is how it looks like. It has full of shimmers. It has blue shimmer, it has a purple shimmer, it has pink kind of duochrome shades to it. I really love this palette so much. Although it looks like I haven't used this much, I use this whenever I have to apply any shimmer to it, and these are very pigmented and very creamy. You do not even need a spray with this shadows. I really love this, although it's very pricey. I do think it's worth the price. I mean, Kevin Aquan is expensive, but yeah, it's definitely something if you want to splurge on. I don't think so you're going to waste your money. So the next palette I have is from BH, and BH is such an affordable brand actually, and unfortunately it's not available here in India, but this was my first colorful palette ever. And this is what made me fall in love with colorful shadows. I mean colorful eye looks actually. I used to practice with this palette and I perfected my colorful eye looks. I used to do a lot of colorful looks back in Instagram and such. I used to do a lot of colorful looks. So this was the palette that I used for my colorful looks, and this is so pigmented, very blendable, and such a good palette. If you are a beginner who's looking for some colorful eyeshadows to blend really nicely and to create like creative looks, I think so this palette will really be affordable and a really nice pick. Another palette I have is here. This is from Glitter Galaxy, and this is actually an Indian brand. This is a glitter palette, and this palette is also very beautiful to look at. It's very pretty. It has all the glitter shades that I will ever need. It has golden glitters, rose gold, blue, teals, and a lot of colors. So I really love this palette, but the thing is I really don't wear glitter that much. I hardly ever wear glitter like in real life as well. I do not like glitter that much. So this is just a palette that is sitting in my collection. I got this on PR, but the palette is really good actually. The formula of the glitter shadows are amazing. So if you are wanting to get a glitter palette and that is available easily here on India, I think so this palette will be a good pick. So the next palette I have here is my baby. This is Modern Renaissance from Anastasia, and as you can see mine is quite dirty. I don't really keep my makeup like that well. I store makeup really not in a very organized way. That is why all of my shadows and all of my makeup looks very dirty. But anyway, I love this palette so much. It's actually my baby here. This is the first high-end palette that I got with my own money. I saved up a lot of money to buy this palette and I got it. I remember the day I got it, I was so happy. Like I finally have an Anastasia eyeshadow palette, and back in the day Anastasia was such a raved brand. I mean, I still love Anastasia as a brand, but not that much. I used to love Anastasia before a lot, and this was the first palette that that called out my name. So I love the palette still. I still use it. This is one of my favorite palettes, and this will always be one of my favorite palettes. So the next palette I have here is from Be Perfect Cosmetics. This is actually a UK based brand, and I got this palette from Beauty Bay. This is also a very expensive palette. Let me just tell you, the shades are amazing. Again, a very beautiful colorful palette, and this is one of the best colorful palettes that I have in my collection. The shades are amazing. This shade, I use it every single day, and I still have a lot of it left. I use this every single day. The blendability is amazing. The shades are very pigmented, but they are very blendable. If you are someone again with you want to create good colorful looks, I would definitely recommend this palette. Even though it's a little pricey, I have got my money's worth. I have created amazing looks with this palette, and as soon as I blend one shadow, it just like melts into my skin really nicely. And yeah, the shadows are pretty good. Also, you get two highlighters. I broke one, but this one is also a pretty good highlighter. I use this all the time. It gives me that very lit from within glow. So an amazing palette. They have a bigger palette of this one as well. I didn't get that because I'm not into shadows anymore. I'm not into eyeshadows. But again, a really nice palette if you are someone who wants to create good creative looks. Still have a lot of palettes to go through. So this is my Juvia's palette, Zulu palette. This is from Juvia's place, and I have heard their eyeshadows were amazing, so I got one for myself. And as I said, their eyeshadows are really good. I love the quality of the shadows. I love how good they are, how pigmented they are. They show up on my skin really well. And yeah, the shades are pretty good. If you are someone who just wants a few colorful shadows in your collection, I think this one is going to be a good choice. Also, the pen sizes are so huge. I got this again from an Instagram reseller. They retail for $20, which I think is actually worth it if you see the color payoff, the pigmentation, the blendability. I think Juvia's shade like eyeshadows are really good. Next palette I have is this from Colourpop. It is the Cute AF palette. No, it's not the Cute AF palette. It's the Yes Please palette, and again a beautiful shade of neutral shades and with a pop of yellow to it. This was actually my first palette from Colourpop, like a palette wise. It was my first palette, and I still love this so much. I have been using this every single day. I use this every single day, and whenever I have to travel somewhere, I always pick this up because it's so tiny. It has all the shades I need. Even the shimmer shades are really pigmented and really creamy and buttery. The shades that I always used on a day-to-day is this one and this brown right here, this deep brown. These are the shades that I used on a daily basis. So a really cute palette. Amazing formulation. So the next palette I have here is from Lamar Cosmetics, and this is their Reina del Caribe palette, and this is like a book, honestly. Just like a book, and this palette is so beautiful to look at. This has like amazing creamy eyeshadows that are so pigmented, and that is like so good. It looks very good on your eyes. It complements each other well. They don't have a lot of shade in the palettes, but these are the shades. You can create a lot of looks out of this one palette here. You have your burgundy, you have your neutrals, you have your beautiful shimmer shades. So an amazing palette. I like created a lot of looks using this, and I still love it. I still use this a lot to this day. So the next palette I have here is from Jaclyn Hill, and this is the OG palette that she created with Morphe, and this was also an expensive buy for me, but this has a lot of shades, so it was worth it. Honestly, I love all the shades here. This palette is actually really good in quality, and this is what made me fall in love with Morphe eyeshadows. I guess this was my first Morphe palette, and after this I got the 3502 palette. But again, this is such a beautiful palette. It has all your colorful like shadows in this side and all your neutral brown tones here. And this palette is actually, if you are someone who is a very minimal kind of a girl, you take this palette and you are done, because it has all the shades you'll ever need. So this was an amazing buy. I think it was worth it, definitely. Let me just show you my first ever palette. This was my first ever palette. It's so small. This is actually a Oriflame eyeshadow, and I was super into the whole black smoky eye thing back in the day, and I thought I would buy this palette and I would magically know how to do a black smoky eye with these three shades. There is literally no transition shade. There is just a black, not even a black, it's like an ashy black kind of a shade, a silver shade and a white shade. I thought I would do like good looks out of it, and honestly my eyes turned out like raccoon eyes after using this. And it has this holder where you can keep your brushes. Very cute. But yeah, it was my first ever palette. I still have this. I keep this as like a memory thing. I like it so much. I still have it in my collection. So the next palette I have is from Beauty Bay, and this is their EYN matte palette, and this is filled with eyeshadows, like colorful eyeshadows, and all of these are matte shadows. I don't like colorful shimmery shadows that much. I like colorful matte shadows, and Honestly, it's such a good buy. The price is actually very affordable. I got this for 1,700 rupees, and oh my god, for 1,700 you're getting like 42 shades. That's insane. That's amazing. That's worth it, honestly. The shadows are amazing, pigmented, blendable. I just don't know why they are not talked about that much, because I really love this a lot. Last palette that I have here is from Morphe, and I just can't show you because this shadow is already broken, but this is the 3502 palette, and this palette is actually my favorite, my all-time favorite palette. If I have to choose one palette from all of these palettes that I showed you, this would be it. I cannot live without this palette. This is such a delicious palette. I always say delicious because it has all this warm tone that looks very flattering on my skin tone. Honestly, that's how I feel, and I love all of these shades, all of these shades here, and the shimmers. Everything is so perfect. This is like my favorite palette of all times. I have been using it for like almost 2 years now, and as I said, amazing quality. I think they discontinued this though. I really don't remember. Also, I have like few single shadows to talk about. I'll just talk about them quickly. I have this colorful Colourpop neutral palette. This is actually not a palette. I got all of these 4 like single shades, and yeah, they gave me this palette free with it. I also have another Colourpop palette which is filled with like raspberry tone shades. Again, I got 4 shades and I got this palette for free. So Colourpop shadows are really amazing, honestly. I really enjoy their formulation. So I also have these shades. This blue one here is from Makeup Geek, and all of these are from GLAMAROMA Beauty. They sent me this all I got in PR, but this one I bought for myself. This one is from Makeup Geek. So that was everything for today's video. I just loved sharing my collection. In no way I'm bragging. I have a lot of makeup because I love makeup and I love to collect makeup, but in no way I'm bragging, like showing you my collection. And I just wanted to show you what palette is worth it and what isn't. Anyway, I'll see you all in my next video. Subscribe if you liked my content here, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye bye.